Moana or Lilo and Stitch?
Lilo and Stitch, because I sang the song.
Could you sing us a little tune?
Oh,
Today, we are in the presence of a demigod from Hawaii. We are honored to have Konishiki here. He's a former Ozeki, now multi-talent entertainer.
complete lunch eater.
And we're very happy to have him here. Thank you very much, Konishiki-san.
Thank you for having me. It's through a old friend of mine, Bill Hershey. We have a connection, and then I heard about we were at a party when we first talked, and you told me about what's going on. Renewing everything, which is I love the look. I love the look of the magazine, how you guys coming out, and just you have some a lot of clout under this magazine, because I've been here 40 years now. And the people that I've connected to the international business world, and people just who's moved to Japan, the foreign people, everybody knows about the magazine, yeah. So
yeah, and we have some other interesting news, because we're now also the representative of the Hollywood Reporter, which you also remember from the olden days, right?
Yeah.
Back 1987. We will talk about this. May I call you demigod? Is that true?
whatever you want, man.
But in Japanese culture, the highest ranks of sumo, even then later on Yokozuna, they are considered gods.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
Well, the thing is, sumo goes back so far that the highest rank was Ozeki, which was his champion. Yokozuna came on later on. But they look at there's two positions, rankings that's very prestige in sumo. There's only a handful of both making it to Ozeki and Yokozuna. So they look at gods. If you go to the symbols of all the temples you go to, at the entrance, they're what they call a tori. When you walk in a big entrance, if you look on the top, there's that rope, and that's what the Yokozuna wears. Yokozuna sna.
Okay.
So that represents like some kind of demigod. They're looked at like a human walking god that actually eats bento.
Lots of them. Tell me, we recently had a very interesting guest. She was a former Meiko. And if I think about Japan, there's probably nothing more Japanese like the, geisha in Kyoto, maybe the samurai. But closely after this is the sumo wrestler, which represents Japanese deep culture, and everyone in the world knows about this. Why is that so? Why is this sport of sumo so fascinating, not only for the Japanese, but all over the world?
Well, it's something never changed, and it's something very foreign, not only to the foreigners, but to the Japanese itself. And the reason why is that it's never changed over the years. So there's only a few things in Japan, basically traditional has not changed. It's the geisha, their kimonos, and sumo. Everything else, you don't have samurais anymore. But we are the walking samurais today, because we still, I'm retired, but we still, in the present time, we dress, we walk, we live that life, which is very un-westernized. And even in Japan, it's just turned very westernized compared to 100 or 200 years ago. Sumo wrestlers still live that old style life, just that they wear shorts and t-shirts and, on breaks, but they still live the life, and their hairdo, and from the way I brought up in a sumo stable, it's not easy, even becoming before you become a geisha, you become a gecko. Gecko is when you're younger, and your parents give you to some okami-san who's maybe in Kyoto, Kumamoto, somewhere, and she starts at a young age. It's like 12, 13, and they marry out. It's like tradition to some guy who owns half of the street or something. But that's the only two cultures presently. I think it never changed. And that's why it's even harder for a lot of people to come and say, so understand that culture. A lot of them can't understand. So it's hard for them to get in.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe that's also this mysterious, this mystic orient kind of image.
Well, it is very mysterious and mysterious compared to what we have today.
Yeah.
Everything is kind of anything compared to today is easy. You talk to your parents, or talking to your parents is one thing. Talk to your grandparents, they're like, Your kids are just spoiled ass kids, Which is, if you compare to what I'm older. I'm turning 60 next year, but compared to when I was growing up, it's not even worth comparing. If you listen to anything from sports to acting or to whatever you talk about nowadays, but if you compare that, like I'm a athlete in sports. I watch sports, and everything you do is about. They talk about what if Michael Jordan was playing at this era, or what if LeBron was in that era,
or competing with this person in
yeah,
this
yeah.
way, right?
So the competition is more about what if he was in my era or was, But sumo, the one thing hasn't changed, It's tougher to get kids to join because of that, the mysterious part of their life, and obviously, what it makes hard is just living the sumo life,
Doesn't it entice young kids to become gods in the future? Probably not.
Well, we wish for the best. Only the best survives in that. It gets to be in that category, even to have an opportunity to become a demigod within sumo. As you can see, sumo, how many Yokozunas there? Less than 80 right now.
Especially during your time, during your period when you were active, was the pinnacle of sumo, probably, right?
Sumo was, well, I didn't know.
You were superheroes, superstars, influencers.
Yeah. So those days I wasn't really, I didn't know anything about sumo before I ever joined sumo anyway. I didn't know who was demigods and who was that. But the only thing surprised me, I didn't know there was so much big Japanese, because I grew up in Hawaii, where a lot of my Japanese friends were all the smart guys, the guys who became doctors and dentists and lawyers, and they're the one who they was writing the checks to guys like me, right? But I never thought they were big guys. When I joined sumo, I did, wow, they got some big Japanese guys here. So, yeah, for me, everything was so new to me when I joined sumo.
Yeah. And this is interesting you say that because you have been working on your autobiography. Is that correct?
Yes, I've been working on that ever since Corona has put us in the house where we couldn't be going out and stuff. And another thing, I just lost my dad 2 years ago. So it kind of made it easy for me, because it was kind of heavy for me, living away for almost 40 years, not being there all the time for my dad. But I spent my last 5, 6 years a lot of the time with my dad. I made sure I was off from December to February. I'll spend all the time with my dad. In June, out of the year, I would spend the whole June with my dad, because it was his birthday and Father's Day. So when he passed away 2 years ago, he made it so easy for me. I was so relaxed. I know now he's in a better place. He's all taking a long nap on his journey, which was so comfortable to me. So finally, I took myself. They wrote a lot of books on me, Japanese, like Nikon Sports, the different newspapers and projects I've done. But I never done anything I really wanted to write, because I wasn't ready for it. But this time I was really ready, from talking about things that happened behind, and talking about what it took me. I don't care about the records or the stuff I did on the sumo ring, because you can actually Google that and you get it. But nobody knows the process and the things from a foreigner's point of view, or from an 18-year-old kid who doesn't know nothing about this sport and just comes here blind and start, here we go, and that's what the book is all about. And what I want to really try to do with the book, and the message through what I've learned through my 40 years here in Japan, is no matter what you do, you got to learn how to accept the process that you take. And everybody talks about don't give up, and everybody wants to give up no matter what, But the thing is, having a goal, where you want to go with your life, or who do you really care about, people around you. And that keeps the motivation going, keeps your morale strong, because it motivates you to do good, because you want to do good for your parents, And then your upbringing, you just take advice, that stuff you heard as a kid. For me, I left when I was 18, so I had to look back to all the little slaps in the heads and kicking the ass by my dad, and what he advised me every day and stuff. So I just took that and take what I learned from Dad and the culture I was brought in. So the thing is funny, it's trying to break up how four cultures help develop Konishiki. Meaning, I was born in Hawaii, but I'm Samoan, 100% Samoan. And I was brought up in America in the Samoan culture. My house is very Samoan, traditional, the way we brought up. And then when I came to Japan, but I was in the sumo culture, which even Japanese don't know about. So I was trying to figure out what this 4 lifestyles has that helped me get to where I'm at. Did they feed off each other, or being here in 18, did me growing up in Hawaii in a Samoan culture help me through the lifestyle in sumo? Oh, definitely did, because my dad was like an oyakata. He was strict about how we lived and how we talked and what we did in our daily lives at home and in the public or in school. So sumo bear is something like that. You have to carry the name and respect it, and don't get in trouble because you disgrace the name. So that pressures that you take with you as you carry that name.
I mean, I haven't read the book, of course. It's not out yet.
It's coming, man. It's coming.
From the research we did, your life story is or could be a movie.
Oh yeah,
you have the ups and downs, the transformation. Your life is very colorful and interesting.
It's interesting because it's a foreigner being in Japan, doing something very foreign. But to me, I've taken it so deep into me that I love the process that I went through. I never look back and say, be honest with you, if I knew what I was getting myself into, I would enjoy it, man. Mm-hmm. It's a hard work. A lot of us summers, it's funny when we get interviewed. You tell, if you was born again, would you do it? Nah.
Yeah. Let's look at some of the key moments of your life. I mean, I always say that you have similarities to Musashi Miyamoto. This young person, raw power, but then over time get more refined and then become actually a cultured person, right? In fine arts and so on. So you have very similarities are definitely there, and plus fighting against the establishment at some point, right? And becoming a hero in the process. The first point, of course, is you were you were discovered by agent, not agent, but
by Jesse Takamiyama, who was another sumo wrestler for Takasago Bell.
Right.
And through a friend, and I was discovered when I was in high school, the last couple of weeks of high school. I was at the beach.
Football at that time,
I was a football player in high school. I was playing football and I was a power lifter. So I was strong as hell. I was like lifting over 400 pounds easy. I think my best bench press when I was in high school before I graduated was 515 pounds.
Wow.
That's with no steroids. I don't take any steroids. It's taro. It's taro, banana, and mayonnaise.
Okay.
And
but at the same time, you were also a singer because your family was very much into music, right?
Yes.
Also,
and then as a kid growing up in church plus a Samoan culture, we were part of youth clubs where we had to learn Samoan culture. And my whole school years as a kid, I was a performer. I used to sing and dance as a kid for a group that we had in our elementary school, our grade school, and then when I got into junior high school, I did the same thing. I was a performer. I was a leader of a Polynesian club. I danced, I sang, I played instruments. I was part of the jazz band that represented our school in Nevada, Reno, many years ago, and I was actually a trombone player. But actually, my first instrument was a saxophone, tenor sax, and then I played trumpet, and because I played for the church, and then singing came along because we sang in the church. So and ukulele was normal. You just watch your uncles and auntie play, and you pick it up, and it's not really you learn by listening and watching. So,
but you remember probably that day clearly when you made that decision and told your parents, "I'm going to Japan."
Oh yeah, I actually I kept it a secret like a week before I left. I knew I was going, and when I first talked to Takamiyama, and he was still active as a sumo wrestler, and we were at the hotel in Waikiki, Kapiolani.
What did he see in you? I mean, in terms of your physique, or
I think physique was something he saw, and something that his friends saw that that I didn't know what they meant. They meant at the time because they said, "Oh, at 80 he looks like Kitanomi." Kitanomi is another former grand champion, which I didn't know who he was, and I guess they related that to Jesse Takamiyama and the Oyakata in Takasago Bay, and then they set up a meeting. I went in there, like, I don't know what the hell I was doing. I don't know why that happened too. Like, in my head, I'm like, I just know I just cutting out of school and went to surfing, and we met this old man and said, "Hey, you should be a sumo wrestler," all that. And because of Hawaii, through respect, you're not allowed to walk away if somebody asks you, you know, especially an old man. That's part of respect in Japan, in Hawaii. So I couldn't walk away, and he kept me away from all the waves all the days I went to the beach because he kept on stopping me. Hey, young man, you played number 79 for Pac 5. I said, yeah, Uncle, I play for Pac 5, number 79. Oh, you should try sumo. I said, I don't know what sumo is. And then he went from there, and then we moved on, and
came over to Japan. Huh?
And then, like, from the day I met Jesse, I think it was like less than a month later I came to Japan.
Yeah,
and I told my parents, like, no, I don't really clearly remember, but it's a few weeks after. Yeah. And I just told my parents like a week before I left, I'm going to Japan.
But when you came to Japan, that first day you arrived here, that's also a funny story. Basically, you had no money in your pocket.
I had no money.
I can't imagine that.
Well, you know, at that time. You know, at 18-year-old kid, that's why the story about the book, thinking about what because they said I don't need any money, I'll be taken care of when I get here. So I didn't want to burden my parents. I didn't have a penny to my name when I came. I didn't have luggage.
And you didn't speak any Japanese either?
No Japanese.
So how did you make it from Narita Airport to...
Well, what it is, people on the plane that helped me through, yeah? Some Nikkei and some people who were on the plane that... And then I just asked for directions. I didn't know you had to pay for get out of the airport. You don't know that, right? People don't know. The foreigners know, they don't know, but you had to pay 2,000 yen to get in and out of the airports. They had a machine where you pay for the ticket, and that was for airport tax or something like that. Yeah. They used to have a machine before.
So how did you?
And then somebody who was on the plane with us said, "Yeah, can you pay?" They paid for me to get out, and then when I got out, nobody was there. And then again, the same people. They paid for. How do you get to Tokyo? You get on a bus. Oh, is it free? No, you got to pay. Man, and they paid for the bus, and I got on the bus. Then I went to Hakozaki.
I
didn't bring any money.
I think that's an interesting adventure. Started from day one, basically, right? But also, what I also like is this typical. You know, it's in the samurai cultures too. At the beginning, they do all sorts of stuff, right? Never touching any kind of katana or something. Like
Yeah.
They do mopping the floor,
cleaning, and all that stuff.
Is that in sumo too?
Yeah, exactly. I was cleaning 4 floors every morning before I went to sumo school. And those days, everything was wiped by hand with the cloth, not a mop in your hand. It was like wiping on your knees, man. I did 4 floors. I cleaned 4 toilets and shower rooms before I went to sumo school, which I was doing like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Toilets of sumo wrestlers.
Yeah, well, sumo
people.
Stable you live in is 4 toilets that we all live in the house. So you got to do all the 4 floors, take all the rubbish out, and then go to sumo school for my first 6 months.
What kept you in Japan, though? Today, I would say any Western person, including me, I would say, I'll leave.
I couldn't leave. They took away my passport. There's no way I could leave. Remember, I didn't have any money, too, right? There's no way I could get out.
Well, it worked in your favor, I guess, right?
Well, you know, and that's the thing I'm trying to relate through my book, through people, the mentality, or the mental part of how do you. I was trying the whole book's trying to find what did this 18-year-old have in his brain that kept him here, you know, and then I try to look back and think, figure it out. The thing that really. There's many answers. There's many answers to the question, but one of them that really stuck to me is that I didn't want to disgrace my family. Number one, the honor, and then number 2, because they're against my decisions, I had to take responsibility of what I chose to do, and I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people, especially a lot. Well, I guess in Japan too, because a lot of people hate to take responsibility. They don't want to be raising up their hand and talk on the behalf of my boys. Hey, fuck you guys, you know, frick you guys, don't do that to me. You know, no one has. But I raised my hand to be my own guardian. You know, like frick that, I'm gonna do it. If I screw up, it's because of me. If I make it, it's because of me. Yeah. But when I break into the ice, it's because I had the support of the people around me. Yeah. But that's what the book is trying to find out. I've been researching, so that's why I talk about the 4 different. It's like cultures, 4 different lives that I live. I had to live with and kind of find my way how to go through it and take parts of it and make who I am. Which carries over to who I am today.
There's also an interesting scene where basically you finally get to start training. And of course, because you are the freshman, or how do you say, rookie, they're going very hard on you sometimes, right? And disciplining you and stuff like this. And where you say during your sleep, probably tomorrow I'll show him.
Yeah.
Tell me about that scene.
Well,
It's,
the thing is,
quite interesting.
they actually helped motivate me.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't run, I couldn't get away from it. So my thing was, they naturally motivated me. And I come from the countryside, and I'm a Samoan-born boy who, if you pick a fight with me, I'm fighting. I'm not scared of anybody. But within the rules and laws that we have in sumo, the regulations that we have, I got to fight within the rules. So I always thought, as long as I can kill him in the ring, I'm good.
And you almost killed one.
Yeah. I heard a lot of guys. But that was my motivation. As long as I kill him legally, I'm good. In the ring, if I hit him in the right place or hit him in the chest so hard that he can stop breathing, that's legal, you know. And that's the way I looked at it. I came into practice hot up. I was like so hot up, like I was burning for fire. I was like every morning, practice started like 5:30. I was in the practice area like 4:00. I was training before anybody was even there. And that's how hungry I was. I'm not more hungry. I was more mad, but I was taking that anger and turning it to positive motivation to make me work, and made me work. I didn't feel no pain. I can after I practice, my jaw is sore. I got bruises all. And that's the funny thing about the human side, that when your brain tells you to do something, your pain goes away. It's when you sit back and relax and everything calms down, you start feeling everything. But that's what a mind can do with a human being, and that's part of what this did, trying to research what this book is, what this 18-year-old, what the hell made this guy do what he did. And it's a combination of many things. Like I said, those guys, if they weren't mean to me and they're like nice to me, and I mustn't be just another puppet to these guys, like they're just do what they tell me and be nice to me, and they won't like push. But if you're pushing the button, a lot of guys that came in, they push their buttons, but none of them come out swinging. This kid is different now.
So you gained your respect fairly.
Oh yeah, and then that's another thing about life. Whatever job you're given, whatever thing you do in the world, when you're thrown out in the world into a new bunch of new categories or jobs, you're going to have to get respect. You're new to the game. I don't care. You didn't prove anything yet. It's like when you make it to any professional, but that's what I taught, and that's what you needed to do. And it's not only proving my gaining respect, it's because I wanted them to know that I felt the real deal. And I had more, it's not proving to them, but I wanted to help my parents. The more I get up there, the more someday I can get paid monthly, have a salary, and I can actually support my family 100%. Yeah. So that's the motivation most of the time.
But they were not only, let's say, I don't want to say it on podcast as halls, but they were also friends and mentors, right?
Oh, yeah. A lot of them is senpai kohai, so a lot of them became good friends after. But it's that Japanese custom system with senpai kohai, and it's always part of the whole structure of Japan is done like that. If somebody's older than you or senpai's always got to say, "Nani nani san, onegai shimasu." Like everybody's always kiskatte, and of course you're going to deal with a-holes wherever you go. But the only way you can get rid of a-holes is pound these guys. If for my sport, I get to pound them. So you be a-hole with me, I'm coming to get you tomorrow, legally.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to like the guy. You don't have to show like you like the guy. You can act like you like the guy, but when he steps in the ring, your job is to take his head off. Yeah. So that's the great motivation about the whole contact sport is all about.
Yeah, but you had the success. You quickly went through the ranks. People saw
your
talent.
I was very fortunate to do what I did. I was, and to me, it was like everything was too slow for me. Like I wanted, day in, day out, I wanted to just make it. And, I didn't really feel like I made it until I really got into like Ozeki, like, the first taste of, I finally getting some success.
Yeah. And you were very young. You were one of the youngest.
Yeah, I made it in 8 tournaments. So I was still at Hatachi. I was only 20 years old.
20 years old.
When I made it, which is still to hold the record is 8 tournaments, yeah. So, But focus was so, I don't know, it's something about, there was a wall in my head that told me, never be satisfied with what you get. This is nothing. So that's why I didn't really feel the achievements I was getting at the early part of my career. It's just stepping stones. I never really thought I've made it yet until like maybe Ozeki, because Ozeki, I bust my knee and I came back and made Ozeki. Like that was even more satisfying.
That was the first setback, right?
Yeah. And also like to myself, I was so like pissed off at myself, pissed off at everybody, pissed at what happened, how that one match went, and because it was from a rematch. And if you look at the videos of the rematch, I felt 100% I won the match, but they made me rematch. It's funny how, and that's another experience I experienced with a pain that I didn't feel until I got out of the ring. Like I stood up, my knee ripped, and I don't know how I got out. And then I got off but see, the mind is so strong. I think about like, wow, how the hell did I get? And when I got off, I went, and by the time I remember getting in the locker room, I walked to the taxi. And when I got to the taxi, when I got to the hospital, I couldn't move or anything. My knee was like all ripped.
That was also an important moment in your career where you needed to change, adapt
your
fighting style?
Not exactly. I had to change so much things. My attitude about, I just pressure myself in every situation I was in. So I really didn't have like off time. My brain was always about 24/7. My brain didn't rest. It was all about tomorrow. It was all about winning. I'll get this, So I never learned how to sit back and make real friends and how to step away from the sport like a few hours or a day, try to mix my life a little bit. I think that's where it started. And with the rehab I had to do, I had so much time and like being patient about getting better. So it kind of gave me the otone narune. I became more adult,
Mature, yeah.
I materialized during that time. And then, bro, you gotta have to hold your patience sometimes. Not every time, you can go for the gospel and try to go for the kill. Trying to pace yourself,
Yeah. And then you became Ozeki finally after the injury.
Ozeki 5 years into my sport, and that was after the huge injury too.
Yeah. This is also interesting. At that time, early on, you supported your family. That's what your wish was, right?
Everything was
your
about
driving,
my family.
Right?
Everything is about
There's
my
an
family.
interesting story with your mother where she said, "Come home."
Yeah.
And
Mom was funny because she couldn't understand. No one was really watching me doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I used to save a lot of money and send my money to my mom's account, and she never knew that I sent her money because she never had money in her account anyway.
Okay.
So every time I called, she would come home. But man, what's going on? So I kind of talked my sister. Hey, can you take Mom to the bank? I don't think she knows she has all this money in the bank. And then she took him to the bank. The bank treated her real different. Took her to the back, and she had like 30,000 something bucks in her account. I said, "What the hell? Where does this come from?" She says, "Yeah, that's from Solid. Your son in Japan. What the hell he's doing? He's doing drug dealing. How he's getting all this? Yeah." And then ever since then, no, he's actually doing good in sumo and winning, and that's how he's sending his paycheck every single month. And she goes, and when I started calling, she said, "Never come back. Don't come back. Like, stay there." Like, it's so funny. It's funny. She loved it. She began to like study sumo. She used to remember sumo guys' names. It was amazing. Like she would know all these guys' names. I was laughing. She don't even remember my friends' names who come over to the house when I was a kid. And she like started to remember their names, started getting pissed off at me. Yes, I'm bad. Wait, you damn kid! Like my mom was wild. She was like the noise of the house, man.
Did you complain when you lost?
Oh, she complained all the time. You want me to take over? You want me to come wrestle for you if you cannot win? Like, relax, Mom.
Yeah. But there's also a tough time. You had all the success fairly early on, and then there were real injuries coming up.
Oh yeah, a lot of injuries. As you get older, your body cannot can do the things you did like 5 years before. Getting to 10 years, or still up to my 10 year, I think I was still kind of active and so. But as I got even more injuries, knees, backs, ankles, fingers, and
But still, you were on the path to Yokozuna.
yeah.
And I mean, that's a little bit of a controversy or controversial topic, but technically you were at Yokozuna under normal circumstances.
Well, if you go by the record, you go by the record how they picked the Yokozuna those days. I think just by looking at the record, it's. But I remember that was a very hard part of my days because I don't know. It's the only time that I feel like I was outcast. Like okay, you're the first foreigner, so you gotta hit the wall. And I looked at it that way. Obviously I'm doing things that no one did before, so now obviously got to hit the wall. But what it did, it kind of made me like I didn't want people to have like the way they put me out in the media is like I was a troublemaker. Like I didn't like that when you say, "Oh, he didn't make it because he was a foreigner." I never said anything about that. They turn it like you're trying to make it like a racism stuff. I didn't really care. I just wanted to do my job and I always believe, whatever it's put in front of me, just take the best and walk with it. I'm not a decision maker. I don't make decisions. So from the very beginning, I didn't really care. Of course, I want to make it, but who am I to make the decision? I had no status or had no power to do that anyway. I understand where I stand. So,
but if all things being equal, you would have gotten it at some stage.
Well, at some stage, that was my goal.
Yeah.
I slept and
as
dreamt.
You said, you worked on, you continued.
I slept and dreamt and moved on, and got to a point I just was burned out. I couldn't, and that scandal didn't really help me because it kind of took away my fire, and I was trying to fight myself more than fighting to become Yokozuna. I was trying to fight my feelings and my emotions to get back to that focus that I had right before that scandal came out. So I was actually fighting myself before fighting anything on the ring. But I was winning, but I didn't really feel it. I was like just lost.
But then that fatal incident where you basically had to retire.
Yeah. When it came to retirement, it was like I was holding on a lot because I was like getting sick. I was not really getting sick, but the injuries really was actually killing me. And I was getting bigger. I was getting out of control. I couldn't like do the things I used to do. So I knew it was coming. So that year I wanted to retire, really. I really wanted to retire, but I didn't know when. I wanted to at least go through the whole year and make it to the last day of that year maybe, and actually come out and say, it's my time. I didn't want to wrestle in the next level, the judo level. I wasn't even thinking of going to the next level.
Yeah. So it was a very tough decision for you because you were part of a big family, yeah?
It was sad, It's something that, especially something that gave me my life, gave me this Konishiki thing that I have today, and it's like divorcing your one love that you've had for many years, 16 years of your life you spent with your comrades, man, your boys, and you grew up together crying and pissed off and bleeding and all that stuff. The life itself, living, it's a big step away from it. Yeah.
And you had one of the most fascinating final retirement scene,
we
right?
had a blast. And that's
I don't know the name for that. There's a special name. Tampatsuki, right.
So
where they cut your hair, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where my afterlife began, because I produced my own Dampatsuki, had entertainment going on, stuff they never had before. From the book I had out for that, there was a special book that people had got, a beautiful picture book that I put together. We had scalpers outside trying to sell tickets I'd never done before. And my retirement, the whole thing about it is like they had Nitere. I think it was Nitere. They was filming that live. They'd never done before. And then when my retirement was doing live during the day, and then when he had a VIP party in Prince Hotel, over 2,000 people, that was actually on TV live on Fuji TV. So it was huge.
And your father came too, right?
My dad, my brothers came. My mom couldn't come because she was already on dialysis, which was when the last part of my hair cutting. A song for Mama was playing while I was cutting the last part of my hair and stuff. So and then we had her up in the big screen when they had the VIP party at Prince Hotel. And that's why my life we have today started. I love creating and promoting stuff, and and part of my work, which I sing and whatever.
Some people say you're an ambassador for Hawaii, kind of, in Japan.
I rather be, even though I'm from Hawaii, I think I represent a lot of foreigners, just the foreigner community period. A lot of foreigners I kind of understand. No matter what foreign country you come from, we all got to deal with the same cultures and stuff. My Japanese friend goes, "Hey, what's the hardest thing about being in Japan?" Maybe the culture hard and stuff. And then my Japanese friend goes, the hardest thing to be in Japan as a Japanese too is a Japanese. It's so true, because they always got to watch what they say, what they do, and they got to be with the crowd. They cannot be, if everybody says, if that's white and everybody says that's black, that's black. So I really understood what he was trying to say. I thought, yeah, that's very true. If you think about it, that's funny. And they all know the answer, just that they don't want to be different. It's so funny when he said that. A Japanese saying, yeah, the hardest thing of a Japanese is trying to be Japanese. That's a funny one,
But even already at your retirement party, you had like a Hawaiian theme kind of
farewell. A Hawaiian team and a Japanese team have like drums going on and dancing at the entrance and all kind of stuff was going on.
And you're most famous now for performing. You're singing. You're playing the ukulele, right?
I play music and I have this children's show I do, the Koni-chan on NHK.
Exactly. That is you've been doing this for so many years.
20 years now.
Konishiki Kids, right? So it's called Koni-chan.
Koni-chan is this character that we do on NHK. It's a kids show. This is the 20th year. Konishiki Foundation is something I founded when right before I retired, with 1996, just to bring kids from my community to experience Japan. And I've done a few things, like when Tohoku, when they had the big earthquake, we've been going up there and we fed about 25,000 people, cooking barbecues to chanko, to making pancakes and taking clothes up to the facilities up there, and even the Kobe stuff too. And then I've done a lot of fundraisers for my community in my town.
Exactly, you brought kids over.
Yeah, that was part of the Konishiki Kids Foundation. The first group came here in 1996.
Oh, that must have been amazing, right?
Yeah, man, it's an experience. I want the kids to see outside of the communities and understand there's a lot out there,
So your book is due in October, is that correct?
October, I'm ready for October to release the book.
Is it in Japanese language and English?
Try to put it in every language that we can,
Highly recommend an audiobook too.
Yeah, we're looking at all this stuff, everything, so technology is different, so...
You can record it yourself these days.
Yeah, I heard you can do that. There's a lot of stuff that I don't even know, man. At this age,
it would be more authentic if you read it, It'll be amazing. I would buy it.
It'll be nice.
Let me finish this interview with our flash question round. These are typical A-B type of question. You have to quickly answer to this,
Okay.
So, number 1. Rokomoko or Chankonabe?
Chankonabe.
Moana or Lilo and Stitch?
Lilo and Stitch.
Why is that?
Because I sang the song.
Interesting.
I did the recording. I did the recording in Japanese.
Short trip, Okinawa or Guam?
Okinawa.
Western boxing or modern MMA?
Boxing.
Santa Claus or Oji-san?
Oji-san.
Yukata or Hawaiian shirt?
Yukata.
And finally, singing or playing the ukulele? Ukulele.
Singing.
Thank you very much. That brings me to my final request. Could you sing us a little tune?
Don't squeeze. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I had no room of a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, bluebirds birds over the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I? Something like that.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming to
Thank you
our
for
show.
having me, man.
That concludes this episode of Eyes on Japan by Hirsi Shiga. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed the show, we hope you subscribe on your preferred platform and leave a rating and comment. My name is David Schneider.